Hey guys, what is up? It's JT here with another video, and this episode of my life story series, we're going to be going over the time that I met a famous YouTuber who quite frankly struck me as one of the strangest people I've ever met in my life. And that's saying a lot considering I live in Miami, the place of crackheads. I mean, this is the city where that guy ate the other guy's face off. I don't know if you guys remember a few years back. Okay, Miami is a very strange place, but this guy easily topped it. Out of everyone I've ever met here, this guy tops it. Okay, so let's dive right into it. This was probably about a year ago. A buddy of mine who's from another state had come down from his hometown to visit me over in Miami so I could just show him around. He let me know a little beforehand that he was coming down to bring a couple of friends who were also YouTubers. He was bringing down, I don't know if you guys know these YouTubers, but he brought down Pro Gamer J, Salty, and finally the man and the hero of our story, Cernando. Okay, I'll post a picture of them so you can see them, you know, in the videos. But if you haven't seen them, go check out their videos. They're all cool guys, except for Cernando, who's a little fucking weird. I don't know if you know who Cernando is, but he's pretty much a Grand Theft Auto YouTuber who got his big break from a YouTube video called How I Got My Sister Pregnant. I shit you not, that's literally the video. He called it How I Got My Sister Pregnant. That's like, what? Okay. He even had a series which followed How I Got My Mother Pregnant and How I Got My Family Members Pregnant. If you think I'm lying, look it up, watch it, and you'll be just as surprised as I am. I'm even more surprised that YouTube hasn't done anything about this, considering those are the most disturbing titles I've ever seen on the platform, and it's probably on par with something you'd see on the dark web. Okay, he'd come down with his buddies, and they were all pretty normal. I mean, they're a little awkward, but what I found is that a lot of these YouTubers, especially if they're young gamer kids, which they were at the time, and we all were, if they start young, I mean, these kids are a little socially awkward, and that's how they were. I mean, they've spent the better part of their entire teenage lives behind a computer, making videos, and you can't blame them because they've done pretty fucking well for themselves. All these kids were eons ahead of everybody else our age. I mean, these kids were making solid incomes every month, you know, just stacking, okay? But after a few hours, they had pretty much loosened up, and they were really cool guys. I have to say, they were all of them. They, you know, my first impressions after all of them, after a little while, they were cool. I had taken out to a few parties and some lounges, hookah lounges, and a few bars in my area. And again, they were a little weird, but they didn't know too many people besides me and my buddies, which I had initially introduced them to. So it was understandable by any statement, you know, by any stretch of the imagination. These kids, they didn't really know anybody. They're in a new place. I got it, you know. But they'd all made an effort to conversate with other people at these parties and other places that I brought them to, except Cernando. He would sit alone on his phone, and I tried to introduce him to people, and he just wouldn't want to talk to anybody. And he didn't even really speak to any of the other kids, the other YouTubers that my buddy had brought down. He didn't really talk to anybody. He was pretty quiet and reserved. He wanted to go out with us, but he was just really, really quiet. So I just chalked it up to him maybe being a little weird, and I just didn't really think much of it at the time. So anyways, fast forward to a few more days, and we're at South Beach, and me and my buddy and I are trying to conversate with Cernando about YouTube, since I figured that'd probably be a pretty comfortable topic for him to talk about. And, you know, he goes on to mention the type of videos that he makes, and what he brings up is his sister video, which at this point I hadn't heard yet. Okay, I've already mentioned it, but when he said it to me, I'd never heard of it. None of my buddies told me this is how he got big on YouTube. I just thought he was a YouTuber. I hadn't really known any of these channels really before I had met them. So I asked him about it, and he starts talking about this video. So I'm dumbstruck. I'm like, no way, this kid made a video about it. And I'm thinking, okay, it's fictitious, obviously. And he did go on to say it was a fictitious story. Okay, and that was like, okay, cool. I guess he's just, you know, doing it for views. I get it. A lot of these kids, you know, they're view whores, and it's fine. You know, I get it. It's a business. You know, you want to embellish, if not make fictitious stories, I suppose, to make, you know, money, I guess, off of it. And if you look at the video now, it's got over 6.5 million hits, so you can't say it didn't work. So I was like, all right, cool. You know, I didn't really think about it. He continues to talk about how if he did have a sister, he would definitely fuck her. And mind you, he's saying this with like he's not even joking. There's no hint of sarcasm in his tone of voice. None. I mean, like, he's saying it with a straight face. Fucking glasses look like they're glimmering in the hot Miami sun. Like, it's just, he's got this pedo face on. It is the weirdest thing I'm hearing right now. And it's just like, I'm hoping it's gonna be one of those things where, you know, like a buddy says something really serious and fucked up, and then he goes, just kidding. Like, I'm hoping he's just gonna go into this a little more, and then he's just gonna be like, oh, dude, you're crazy. I would never. No, it gets even worse. Then he starts talking about how he's got dreams that are like he's done it before. And he really likes that shit, and it's like he's talking about it like it's a fetish that he's just been waiting to fulfill. He's jerked off to it, the thought of it, and I'm trying to give him an outing. I'm like, okay, he's talking about stepsister, because that's big on porn, you know, like people like to talk about stepsister sex or whatever. It's a big community, I suppose. It's all over the homepage. You guys know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm like, all right, that's what it is. He's talking about stepsister. He goes, no, I'm talking about real sister, and his excuse is, he goes, it's just all the time. She lives with you, man. It's just you could do it all the time. That's what he's saying, as if that's some sort of excuse as to why you could fuck a sister. Like, just ignoring all the incest and morally wrong things about that. He was just like, no, but it's convenience. You would think with a kid like this, who is so reserved, so quiet, that he wouldn't have much to say about any topic, and ironically, the only topic he won't shut up about is how he's gonna fuck his sister if he had one. Like, that was like, I couldn't even believe my own ears. You know, I'm just looking for an outing in the conversation. I'm trying to get out of this now, and there doesn't seem to be one. So I'm just like, because he won't stop. He just keeps talking about going around with his dreams, jerking off to this crap. So I'm just like, okay, man. You know, we all got our fetishes, and, you know, I was like, that's cool, all right? And I just walk over to the other guys, and I try to forget what the hell I just fucking heard. And I start thinking back, and I remember this kid. Fernando was probably, I think, the wealthiest out of the bunch at the time. He had the biggest channel out of all of them, including my buddies. And his license plate in his M6, he had an M6, and his license plate said porn. It was P0RN. That was his M6 car, which was pretty cool. It was when we were driving around South Beach, and now everything's kind of like coming together. I'm like, okay, this guy, he's some weird, like, he's got some sexual demons in him. I don't even know. But there was something off about that guy, and at no point did he ever, I preface this again, at no point did he ever mention stepsister. I brought it up to him, never said it, ever. He's talking about an actual sister. He's a single child. He's an only child. He doesn't have anyone, so maybe that's why. I don't think that's, but I mean, look, I have a sister, so maybe I can understand it, why it's more unethical considering I have a sister, so I can tell you, yeah, that's not cool. So I don't know, maybe with only childs, they have a hard time understanding that dynamic, but I mean, I find a hard time believing that only children, you know, they don't understand that you don't really fuck your blood, but not this guy, not Fernando. So that's what I got from this guy. I never hung out with him again, despite my buddy coming down a few more times after that, especially with the other YouTubers, and that was the end of that. We never saw him again, and boom, that was it. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this story. This is my first life story in quite some time, and I decided to do something a little different, not too drug related this time, but I think it was still pretty interesting. Definitely a fun one. So let me know what you guys thought about this video. Drop a like, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Ready to pop, drop top, fuck cops, and I'm never gonna stop. Cop drop in my mouth, cause I'm sick with this